Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's stream. I'm Wendy. I'm here with Edmar, your community team. In today's live stream, we are here to celebrate the holidays the Omniverse way with our holiday art challenge. But we have Jeremy Lightcap from our community, as Edmar said during the countdown, a veteran community member, and we have
Yeah.
Pierre from Adobe. But before we get the show started, as always, Edmar, what do we have going on in the Omniverse community?
Very, very much related to this stream, we have what we're calling our first community challenge, and that's when we kind of pose to the community a task to do that we can share with everybody. And this one, so they're called community challenges, and this first one is called Winter Art Challenge. Hence the hashtag you see on your screen now that when you created. So what we're asking, so if anyone comes up with any kind of holiday themed art, and no matter what DCC program you're using, and you want to render it in Omniverse, you can share it with that hashtag. Our community team, our marketing team, NVIDIAns all over will be able to see it. And not only that, but we'll be promoting it on social media for the world to see. And I think it's just a great way for people to share your creativity and how you think of the holidays with your favorite DCC apps. And we're really excited to get this first one going. This one is really purely for bragging rights. So there's not any kind of GPU or official contest, which means number one, it's open to everybody. So anyone in the world can do it. And number two, I think that it'll just be fun for to see who has. We'll have to create some fun categories, and maybe Wendy can help me.
Yeah,
I'm sure. We were to get the party started. We had Edward McEvenu, Rafi from Rafi Animates, who we've highlighted recently, doing a great show called Art Squad. Really fantastic art style. They both created these really cool winter scenes, and you can, if you're a member of our Discord, you can see them right now by going into the Community Challenges channel. And if you have not been to our Discord, hop in. That's where a lot of the users are hanging out. We've got over 5,000 people in there. You could just go to discord.gg/NVIDIA Omniverse. And we have channels for almost every topic. We just added rendering the other day because someone said, hey, how come we're not talking about rendering on any of these channels specific? So now we've just started that up. We do have an Adobe channel already. Pierre, you'd be very happy to see. We have some nice engagement there with people. So the Discord is just a fun place to hang out. That's the big one. And I also want to give a shout out to Greer. I tried to convince Greer to come on to
I was hoping she'd come.
yeah, well, maybe soon. I got to twist her arm a little bit more, but Greer is so super helpful behind the scenes, helping us with these live streams and with the promotions of them. Very, very, this critical member of the live stream team. So thank you, Greer, and maybe another day we'll have you on to talk about all the cool events we've got going on. Okay, but we have, like I said earlier, we have a couple of very special guests. And it's not often we get to kind of mix this cool kind of combo of working on art in real time, showing off workflows, and then having an amazing partner like Adobe joining us. So before we get started on the actual fun part of making the ornament that Jeremy's got planned, why don't we, starting with Pierre? Pierre, why don't you tell us a little about yourself and what you do at Adobe? And tell us like kind of what you'd be happy to talk about today.
First thing first, thank you for having us, and it's been such a great journey so far with Adobe Substance 3D together with Omniverse and NVIDIA. On my end, I've been working for more than 10 years with NVIDIA, and it's always been a blast, especially the fact that you are, to your point, and Jeremy is a good example here, showcasing the art of people and how people are using the hardware, software to generate like pretty cool project and inspiring project. On my end, I was mentioning back in the day I was doing a lot of 3D. In more technical way, especially with CATIA back then at Dassault System, and then joining Algorithmic 4 years ago, starting to work with Substance. Back in the day, Substance Painter was just launched, and now it's been it's been a journey. We have Substance Painter being adopted by a very wide range of people. And on my end, I've especially been working on more industrial design, architecture, how so technology coming from the video game area, how they could help also the more manufacturing-oriented people, because that's my background. So I'm really excited to be here today, and also to showcase how we've been working together, especially on the USD format, to make it smoother when you go back and forth between the different tools.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming. Really excited to just hang out this next hour. So thank you. And Jeremy, you don't need much of an introduction. You are a very popular guy around here. You not only were you the first contest winner, but you've also done some really cool stuff after the contest. Why don't you tell a bit about your background, everybody, and kind of give someone some insight into who is Jeremy Lightcap?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my background's interesting. I started off doing oil painting, and then I realized like I couldn't make a stable living doing that, so I started learning like design and stuff, and I was working on like a VizDev portfolio in 2D, so I spent a very long time learning the fundamentals of painting and composition, and that industry is pretty tough to get into, and I was getting frustrated, so I was like, wow, let me just start dabbling in 3D. And I just started learning Blender, and I loved it. And having such a strong 2D background really helped the 3D stuff just kind of click instantly. And then yeah, before I knew it, I was just working, with people helping out on commercials, and I think I worked on like a game commercial, and then I worked on helping some people start a studio. And because I was working on smaller projects, it allowed me to wear multiple hats. And because of that, I just started learning kind of all aspects of the pipeline of producing an animation. And yeah, I'm a 3D generalist. It's my job now. And yeah, I started working at Netflix last year, and the show I was on unfortunately got postponed. But yeah, I'm back there with them now, doing a little bit of freelance. And in my spare time, I'm just working on a short film that I'm hoping to release next year sometime. Just a nice little 2 or 3 minute long Christmas themed film.
That's awesome. I've heard of that company you're working for. They've got some recognition around here.
Yeah, they're pretty great.
That's awesome, Jeremy, and thank you so much for spending your time. We're also doing a top secret project with Jeremy that I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to talk about, but I will say that Jeremy's working with a few other folks in the community on a really cool kind of like collaborative kind of little movie. So we're hoping to show that off. But I got to keep my mouth shut before I get in trouble from marketing. But just keep your eyes and ears open for it. We'll talk about it on Discord more when we're allowed to. All right, so let's get into it. So obviously the time of year is upon us. Wendy obviously did this really nice template for us on the live stream with the nice Christmas lights. I did my best to decorate the bear behind me that is in hiding right now from our puppy who loves to just tear it apart.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But yeah, so the holidays are upon us, and this is just a really great time of year, obviously, to be thankful for everything we have and help others who aren't as fortunate. And I think to get the holiday spirit going and in line with the Winter Art Challenge, we thought it'd be great fun to bring Jeremy on and actually show off workflow about what his creative process is when he's working on 3D scenes. And the double bonus is to have someone like Pierre here from Adobe to actually maybe give some pointers along the way as he's using Substance. So Jeremy, let me ask you first. What when you start working on kind of a scene, whether it's for the project that you're working on for next year with a few colleagues, or something for Netflix, what are kind of the first things that happen in your mind when you decide to kind of what apps you need to use?
Oh, that's a great question. I guess it depends on what the goal is of the end product, and like what the visual style is going to be. And then from there we kind of figure out like, who do we need? Like what kind of VFX person do we need? What kind of texturing? Like what level do we need in terms of like character design, environment design? And then from there, yeah, it's just, letting people kind of build sets in the programs they like. And then after that, you get into texturing and stuff. And I'm pretty sure like every person ever who does 3D uses Substance Painter or Designer at this point, because it's just the easiest thing to get good quality. It's really fast and easy. And I was just talking to Pierre about how I didn't even realize, like, when I was making this little demo file I'll show you guys soon, I just went onto their asset store and there was just all these free textures I'd never known about. And I was like, oh, this is the best. Because before, like just even 4 or 5 years ago, you'd have to search through a dozen websites to be like, what is the thing I need and who's not ripping me off? Like, is it really worth $10 for this tile pattern right now? So that was really nice. But yeah, so yeah, to answer your question, it's really just figuring out what the end goal is, and then working from there.
I'm always amazed about how many tools that a lot of artists and developers have to use simultaneously to be able to get the results they're looking for. And I think it's fair to say that in the past that has been more of a challenge than it is today, thanks to something Pierre mentioned earlier, the USD file format, which really is the foundational piece that lets a lot of these apps kind of talk to each other now. And also thanks to Omniverse connecting everything. But what what in your workflow has been impacted by leveraging USD? So obviously you're able to work with Blender. We have some support for Blender now, and there's more coming. A lot more cooler stuff happening with Blender in the near future in Omniverse. But for now, there is you can there's a Blender version which is available in the Omniverse launcher, which is great. It makes things a little easier. But how has that helped your workflow, being able to kind of leverage USD and being able to kind of work with multiple apps at the same time?
Yeah, I'm still trying to convince my friends and the people I know to test out Omniverse, because I've had a chance to use it with you guys and the team and the other people within this community, and it's just unreal how much more efficient it is when it comes to designing a set and lighting it and texturing it, and it's just this non-destructive workflow that no other program is really doing right now. And it's the future. It's just it's the word just needs to get out, and it's one of the main reasons that I'm still hanging out and trying to keep up with you guys, because I just want to be a part of it, and I want to keep tabs on it. But yeah, I mean, as far as like production work goes, it's just too new for people to want to rely on at the moment. But when it comes to personal projects or ideas, like it's the way to go when it comes to collaboration, for sure.
And so, Pierre, you mentioned USD earlier. So, what's Adobe's stance on USD, and what did you guys talk about last month at your big conference?
So at Adobe Max, and then more recently on additional events, and also together with you guys at GTC, we were talking about USD, and especially we had the chance to have Guido Caroni, who joined us, coming from Pixar, who is now our senior director of engineering. And the potential of USD to streamline so things that used to be a nightmare, like data conversion, when you want to have like similar lighting, similar scene organization and things like that. We really see our USD solving many of those issues. And so we are definitely moving forward most of our tools on USD format, so that also across our ecosystem, Jeremy mentioned Substance Designer, we have Substance Painter, we have Substance Sampler, we have Substance Stager, and we want to move things across those different tools in the most efficient way. And we definitely think that USD is the right format for doing so. So we are very excited about that, and also working with you guys for a long time, as I was mentioning. We've been starting the journey around the same time, and so we could directly see the impact about communicating with Omniverse, for instance, having the substance material format available in Omniverse so that you can tweak the parameters. We did a really cool live demo with Rob Jr. last time about that. So we definitely are also learning on the way, but the potential is huge, and the more time we are spending on it, the more potential we discover. So we are very, very excited.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think this year, to Jeremy's point, I think this year is going to be a pretty big year for developers kind of really being much more aware on the advantages of working with this type of workflow, multi-app collaborative workflow. I think, for smaller projects where you have just one individual working on them, I think it might be a little harder to justify switching up your workflow. I think where the real and that only improve though as the live connectors improve across the ecosystem, which they are. I mentioned we got some cool stuff happening with Blender soon. So I think, but for larger teams and what this top secret project working with Jeremy on, I think the value is really clear, like right away. It's really hard to believe until you see it, and you see multiple people working on the same scene at the same exact time, being able to collaborate, even if they're using different apps than each other. It's super powerful, and it goes back to actually the origins of the USD file format, which was specifically created by Pixar to solve a very big problem they had, which was how do you let, in some cases, hundreds of artists work on the same thing at the same time, and being able to share the level of information that you really need to be able to cross over from app to app, and hence USD came about. So to Jeremy's point, I think that solo creators probably will start to embrace it at a greater pace as these live connectors increase, but for the connections that are there now, whether it's with Adobe or with Epic's Unreal Engine, Unity connector is very much in full swing right now, and we announced that at GTC, so that will be available soon to everybody for testing. That's super exciting. Obviously, tools like Max and Maya. So being able to really utilize these things together with your teammates, I think, is where the huge value is. So anyway, I think let's take a look to see. So Jeremy, so you're a big Blender guy, right? That's kind of like your go-to program for modeling.
Yes, yeah, Blender is my first. Yeah, it's just the first 3D program I learned, and it was free. And it's weird. I kind of started learning it like right as it exploded. I just think in the last 4 years, everyone I know is using it now. Like, and before it was like either you were using Maya or 3ds Max or ZBrush, but people still use those programs, but everybody knows how to do a little something in Blender. But yeah, do you want me to show the little thing I was working on with you guys?
Yes.
Go for it.
Cool. All right, let me share my screen. Okay, let me. Sorry, I was trying to
That's okay.
simulate
time.
some snow for you guys,
Ooh.
but I think I was being overly ambitious. I don't know if we'll get to that, but we'll try it.
Pierre, let me ask you, while he's bringing this up. So speaking of modeling software, so tell me what Adobe's been working on in terms of modeling, because you guys have something up your sleeves.
Oh,
We have something that we are very excited about that we launched at Adobe Max, which is called Adobe Substance 3D Modeler. So it's a both VR and desktop sculpting app, and we had a previous beta, and now it's shipped to the rest of the public. And some of the projects that we saw out of the communities are just mind blowing. I was discussing with some people mentioning that they were going like 2, 3, or sometimes 4 times faster because they could switch between VR and desktop, and that's really, really exciting.
That's awesome.
And when you think about it, like to produce content that are afterwards consumed in VR and immersive space, to also seeing that it has been designed in VR is something that I think is super exciting.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, we saw Rafi gave a really compelling presentation on our live stream recently where he showed off his workflow as as comparable to Jeremy. He's typically a one person team, but he uses so many different apps, and he doesn't consider himself a technical artist or a 3D modeler, believe it or not, even though his work looks like it's done by super veteran. But he actually models and does a lot of the texture work using VR, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like to see his. So if you missed that live stream, you can check it out on our YouTube channel. Watch the whole hour because he really goes through in depth about what you can do as a single artist today, a single creator. He's making a freaking TV show by himself.
Yeah.
It's nuts, really nuts, and it's not just like a low quality bar. It's super high. It actually reminds me a lot of the art. The gamers will know this. The game called Little Big Planet.
Yes.
It was so groundbreaking in the art style they were doing because it was looked like you were watching a movie, but it's actually a playable game. So his art style looks very similar to that. So check it, and then the VR stuff he's using to actually create some of the stuff is just amazing. So,
Awesome.
how you doing, Jeremy?
Great. I'm good.
got it.
I think I got it. Can you guys see my screen all right?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So this
Hey,
is,
I know that.
Yeah, this is
Looks
is
familiar.
you guys. I actually did this last year. Edmar reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, do you want to do a holiday themed, something?" And I was like, "Yeah, I wonder what I could do." And so I made this, and I didn't have enough time to get it into Omniverse. Although it worked, it was like a one-click thing. So I don't know, Edmar, if you're able to like link this. I sent you the link to this in the chat.
Yep.
But it's just an Omniverse logo inspired like geometry nodes thing that I did. But I did it late, so it never made it anywhere. But anyway, I just took that. All it was this Mobius strip shape, and so I went into that file and grabbed it, and then I just cut out a hole in the top and made it a little ornament. And then I went into Substance Painter and started having fun with it. And I'm really rusty when it comes to Substance Painter, so I figured if Pierre had any ideas or ways to go about making this a little more interesting, like this is my first take at it. But the Substance Painter is just, it's like you can get lost in here for hours. They just make it so easy to just go download a texture. I think I went in here and I just searched for glitter, and I just grabbed this SAR file and then uploaded it into here, and it was like less than 10 seconds. So I was able to just grab the exact texture that I wanted, which as a 3D artist is like, you typically have to take a break to go like get yourself into a different mindset and go look for textures, and it kind of throws off your rhythm. But they made it so easy, like that rhythm doesn't get thrown off anymore. So it's just been a real treat. But yeah, you can just go find something and drag it in and start playing around. My UVs aren't great. I'm not the best UV unwrapper, but with this triplanar projection option, you don't really have to do too much with UVs anymore. But yeah, anyway.
Something that some people believe that you really have to have super great UVs to start with Painter, but indeed with triplanar now, it's in many cases good enough. Yeah,
and when I first started using it, I remember it looked awful, and I was like, oh man, like I don't know how to do UVs, I can't use this. And then a buddy at Netflix was like, no, just click triplanar projection, and I was like, oh, okay, great, I'm going to use Substance Painter all the time now. It just saves you so much time.
In the meantime, we've also been adding some advanced automatic UV capabilities. So if you drag and drop a model that has no UVs, we'll generate some UVs for you. And each time we are releasing a new Painter version, we improve this auto UV algorithm. So
that's amazing.
Getting better and better.
Yeah, I mean, nobody likes doing UV, so if you guys can make it a one-button process, that would be the only place to go. Because I've
Right.
never met a single person who's been like, "Oh yeah, I love UV unwrapping."
It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's a frustrating process. But yeah, so I was just playing around in here, just trying to figure out I don't know, something Christmas themed, and I came up with this. I saw that a common thing for ornaments was to sprinkle glitter on top of them. So I just did a little bit of, I don't know a ton about it, but there's this really cool feature where you just create a mask, and they have these generators, And so the generator is kind of creating like wear and tear, or in this instance, it's like the direction of a light is creating the mask, and so you can kind of move the slider around and switch like where the glitter is being influenced, and it's just really easy and really fun. And if you had to do this by hand or in Blender, like there's no way you could do this. Like you don't have this kind of control in Blender right now. And I used to do all of my texturing like in Photoshop by hand, but with a program like this, it would be ridiculous to go back at this point. But yeah, once you have something you like, it's really easy. You go File, Export Textures. I'm gonna save them as a different. Let's see. V2. Select folder. So yeah, I broke it down into like 4 textures. I probably only needed to do like 2 textures probably. I think I went a little overkill. I think you can like combine some of these, like this red texture is split into 2 for some reason. But yeah, you go export textures, and I selected only the textures I needed. Like Substance is great. It generates everything from like transparency to emission to metal and roughness, et cetera. But you can go in at the end of the day, like you don't need to create all of them, because like these are all 4K, and if you're only using 3 of them, it doesn't make sense to have 10 textures every time you export. So I just kind of handpicked which ones I wanted, and then click export, and you're done. Then you go into your program. For me, it's Blender. And I'll show you guys the process of throwing textures on here. So for now, let's, what do we got? Logo base. I'll duplicate that, and I'll just delete all of this stuff. And there's a great shortcut called Control-Shift-T. So you do that, and it brings up the file menu. Uh-oh, where did these go? Interesting. Sorry about this little technical difficulty. I bet you it's because all of my files are stored on a network drive. Maybe they haven't.
Okay, man. We like to keep it real here.
Yeah. You guys are witnessing my messy process live. So yeah.
I love it.
Export. Okay. Let's try this again. Huh? I thought I selected that. Oh, that's what happened. I think I left. Yeah. I had to redo it. There they are. Cool. So that Control-Shift-T thing is great because it kind of automatically detects like what you're looking to fill in terms of like the texture. So like base color, roughness, metallic, etc. So I was going to change just the logo area. So all I have to do is click on all of the logo bases and hit Principled Texture, and it tries to figure out what you were looking for. So it got this one right, like base colors and base color, metallics and metallic, roughness is in roughness, and
Nice.
I don't think we need a displacement. Yeah, but yeah, really fast, quick process. And I just love how easy it is. Like it was like one click over here, and then it's basically one click over here. So I'm going to save this as logo V6. I have custom like scripts and stuff, so the Omniverse version of Blender I can't really navigate through because I'm just like, I ruined myself by learning these scripts. They're called, I learned Blender from a guy called Heavy Poly or Von Ling. And so now I have to use Blender in that way, but we'll go open the V6 version that I made. And I just want to show you guys like how easy it is to export stuff into Omniverse. But basically we have this. I was going to simulate some snow, but I don't have time to troubleshoot why that's not working. So we will just click on the this guy here, and you hit N. And in your version of Blender that you launch from the Omniverse launcher, up here, the Blender 3.4 alpha, you just launch that and you open up your file. And then over here in the side panel, there's an Omniverse button. It's insane. You just click export USD and you tell it where you want it to go. And you can include animation or select it only. There's all these parameters and settings that I found that I don't even really have to touch. You guys have done such a good job of just making it so that I don't have to think about anything. So yeah, you click export, and then you should be done. So we'll just, that's right here. We can click open. Let it have a think. And there she is. And we're ready to get going. Start working inside of Omniverse. Is that the right? I guess it is. But yeah, I haven't really thought about how to light this or anything. But if anybody has any questions about the process, I can maybe kind of noodle and come up with like a fun little scene if anyone's got questions.
Yeah, definitely feel free to post your questions for Jeremy or for Pierre if you have a question about what Adobe's working on. Post in the chat and we'll read it out. Very cool. The project that you are working on with a few of your friends, are you able to share some information about that? Like, how can people keep up with that? I know you have a Twitter page, you're on ArtStation. We'll post a link in a second to your ArtStation. What's the best way for people to start following? Are you guys going to share progress along the way?
We will once we start getting into it. I'm really bad about just social media and updating stuff, but basically my Instagram is where I go and share all the little sketches and things I've been working on. But I basically wrote a story about a little Yeti character, and I've been doing a lot of tests on like how to simulate like hair and
Wow, that
wind.
looks
Oh,
awesome.
that's cool.
Yeah, it's been a struggle because Blender is like this kind of underdog, and it's being developed heavily, but it's still a little clunky at times, and their hair simulation is definitely one of the clunkier parts of the program. But it's really required for the character of the story. So I've just been noodling away on that, and then I don't know if I have my PureRef open. Let me see. That would be a fun thing to show you guys, the messy progress or process of a year-long animation that is constantly being changed and refined. But can you guys see this gray blob right now?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So the way I've been working on this animation, and it's like pretty much just me right now, but I have met like an animator and another person who's going to help out, and I'm keeping them updated on like what's happening. But the whole thing started with making this character in VR. I was using Quill specifically, and I wanted to kind of give it like a stop motion-y look, but then I realized that he was really hard to work with in this state, and he just kind of looked a little too rough. So I kind of went back to the drawing board and started redesigning him and painting over him and redesigning him. And he's just gone through so many iterations. A wedding gift. I have a super talented friend. His name's Lucas Zung. You guys should go check him out. He did this for me and Lexa as our wedding present. So that's me, and that's my wife.
That
And
is awesome.
Oh, and you have, is that pizza in there too?
yeah, that's pizza. That's Phil. So yeah, he went through and captured all this stuff, and he's the person I've been talking about this Yeti project with the most. So it's just like the most beautiful thing, and it's super inspiring. So I was just like, well, you're a incredibly talented concept artist for a living, and I don't do that. So I slowly just started making him look more like that illustration, and I've just been gathering a bunch of reference of like fur and hair and stuff and environments. But he's getting to the point where like he's almost ready to go. I've been rigging him and getting him ready to send over to the animator. I just have to make sure that once he starts moving, the hair on his body doesn't just explode like it has been in recent tests. But yeah, keep your eyes out. I'm hoping maybe by summer or fall next year this is finished. But it's been the most work. I never imagined it would be so hard to make like a 2-minute animation, but here I am 2 years later working on that thing still.
Very cool. Is there like a working title for it?
There isn't actually. I've been calling it the Yeti project. Whenever I reference it, I'm just like, the Yeti project I've been doing forever. But yeah, I'm
Very
excited
cool.
about
Thanks
it.
for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, let's throw some lights in here. Man, Rusty.
If Dave Tyner was here, he'd be inserting some flames somewhere for lighting.
Oh my
Some
God,
kind of
yeah.
flammable substance.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we can have Dave work on a fireplace. That would be pretty cool since he loves fire so much. Maybe we can put his fire obsession to good use.
That's perfect. Yeah, it'd be great to have this. Like, if there was one in the background of this, that would be ideal. I just don't know how to do the fire stuff. I've seen him do it, but I'm always like, wait, what did you just click there?
For those who are not familiar with the name, you'll probably recognize him more as his code name of Omnivore on our Discord. So
Yes.
you see a post from Omnivore, that is Mr. Dave Tyner himself. And actually, I think we've got him slated to come on December. I think it's going to be December 14th.
14th.
So put that on your
okay.
calendar. 14th. It will
December
be
7th, we're doing action graph. So.
Oh, that's my birthday. I'll have to.
Oh, yeah.
happy birthday, man. Your present is Action Graph.
Great. I've always wanted one.
So the 14th is actually going to be our next kind of holiday themed show. And Dave Tyner will come on. I think we're going to have Ashley show a project from some students she's been working with that are working with Omniverse.
That's awesome.
Jen, who's another great developer on the team, has also been working on an extension that basically lights up Christmas lights with a sync of music in Omniverse. So that's going to be a cool extension she'll show off. So that's the 14th. So stay tuned for that. Jeremy, this is looking really cool, man.
Thanks, dude.
I'm going to tell our marketing team they've got some competition now.
Yeah, they can have this. I'll send it to them.
That's the king.
Don't
I'm
say
talking
that.
to you. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I notice, the ray tracing is reflecting, so it's reflecting the green onto the gold. That looked so good.
Yeah, there we go. I think I had to reopen it. It was being sluggish. Yeah, it's really, you guys have made a really fun render. I was just telling my wife, actually, I rendered a thing for the project I can't talk about. And I was just like, this is like the most realistic renderer, and I can't put my finger on it, but it just feels more lifelike than like Blender. And like I love Blender and I'll always love it, but I think you guys definitely have a more realistic renderer. And this is a funny story. I was trying to see if I could make a disco ball with like light that bounced off and all around a scene, and I couldn't do it in Blender. And so I went into Omniverse and I asked Edmar, and I'm pretty sure Edmar was like, hey, just letting you know, a bunch of people over here are trying to make disco balls now, and it worked. So you guys have the more realistic, ray tracer. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
man,
but
the
I
team
think
love to hear that. Yeah.
and that's what it's all about, though. It's right.
Right.
The Omniverse apps are they're really not meant to be standalone apps. To be honest, they're really more of tech demonstrations for what's possible, right? And I think what the future holds is a lot of companies kind of working on stuff in Omniverse on building on the platform that allows this kind of ecosystem to work together. That way you can use the great tools, like you're a huge fan of Blender, and as you should be, and you shouldn't need to give that up.
Right.
So I think ideally you'll be able to continue working with the tools and love them. As those tools evolve, they'll still be working because of the USD file format with everything else. So don't feel bad about loving Blender and just leveraging one part of Omniverse. I think different people will take different things from Omniverse, but the key thing is that you don't have to give up what you know and love already to be able to do different things. I think what I've heard also from I think Edward McEveny from Ed Studios, we've also had on before. He told us what was really impactful for him in a very compelling way that just was not possible before, was his ability to use the Omniverse platform for previs. So typically, when he's working with clients, and he's worked with Dell and Ecobee thermostats, the visuals that you will work on for previs as you're working for these, really final kind of commercial projects. Typically, those previs assets are not so great looking. They're very kind of rudimentary and simple. And he said that the folks were really blown away by what he was able to achieve with Omniverse very quickly. And he said for previs, it makes iteration so much faster. He said it really shaved literally days off of his time. And he usually works on projects by himself. So I think different people will be able to work with it in different ways. But for people working on previs stuff, I think that's hugely compelling. We do have a question in the chat, Jeremy. This is from our good friend Zia Ideas. Hey, how you doing, Zia? He wants to know on your team project. I think he's referring more to the one you're doing with your buddies, as opposed to the one you're working on with the big Netflix. How do you often collaborate with each other? Are you guys I'm guessing you guys are using probably Discord or something to chat in real time, and you guys each have. Do you work together at the same time, or do you work asynchronously typically?
Yeah. It's I think Discord is the way I've been communicating with Ed the most actually. But yeah, talking to Ed in Discord, and then recently we've been doing live Omniverse sessions. So we set up a little nucleus together, and we've been going into this place we've been working on. And we're talking through ideas and in real time kind of showing each other what we mean. And we can also do that with by sharing a screen, but there's just something a little more fun and collaborative about playing with objects and toys in real time together, as opposed to one person sharing and another person sharing. And it's just a faster process. But yeah, mostly Discord for the moment.
So for the project that you're doing mostly in Blender right now with your other friends, non-top secret project, the Yeti project, it'd be really cool actually to bring them on a live stream with a couple of veteran Omniverse users to actually do a show and tell of how the collaboration works. And then we can watch in real time their minds get blown.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, they would love that.
Because I think that would be a lot of fun for other people to see too. For new users to see kind of what kind of workflow would really benefit and help them.
Yeah,
this is looking cool, man.
Yeah, let's set it up.
The new camera tools there.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. There we go. This is looking better. I'm just trying to get it a little sharper. Yeah, it just feels oh wow, that's great. Yeah, it feels like a real camera. 150. Yeah, and I saw you guys added all these little ISO features. That's just insane, and again, super realistic.
And those are all suggestions from the community.
Really? Oh wow.
All of it. Yep.
Oh yeah, you guys added my biggest suggestion. I was like, please give me multiple viewports, and then I opened it up the other day, and I saw it, and I was just like, oh, they listened. I'm so happy.
I know you're half kidding, but actually, seriously, you're one of the reasons that we pushed that up. I've definitely heard that from a few people, but you were definitely the most persistent, I should say.
Yeah. Anytime you guys were like, what do you I was like, nope, multiple viewports. That's the only thing that is killing me right now, because I'll show you in Blender real quick, the way I work. And again, I can navigate faster in Blender than I can in Omniverse. But basically the way I work is I have my camera set up, and then I kind of go in and I start staging things in this other viewport, because it's just so much easier to kind of get in there and fiddle with things, as opposed to trying to if I wanted to duplicate this and push it into the back, I would be kind of stuck, and it would be just more awkward. Where over here, I know exactly where I want to be and how I want to use this. And I'm realizing these look like donuts, which is kind of the Blender meme. So that's pretty fun. Pretty funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of how. But yeah, I'm just trying to do something similar over here. But it's not bad. You guys have these really nice widgets that kind of lock things into space on one axis, so then you can just kind of go in and fiddle around. Whoa, tilty.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting. Yeah, so on the suggestion side of things, as a Power Blender user, really good to get your suggestions too on how we can help that workflow even more. I know that we've got some things already in the works with in terms of the connector, but yeah, any other types of improvements in workflow that can help leverage, the great Power Blender with the rendering and user workflows.
Zia is asking a question. Zia Ideas. Is there a way to transfer Jeremy's loved Blender scripts to Omniverse? So if you don't know already, the alpha build that we have on Omniverse is kind of like a placeholder. We're working with the Blender team to actually make a connector, a real connector, and I know that that the dev team wants you guys to have the ability to use the Blender scripts, but once it's a connector, absolutely you can use those scripts. But right now you have to use the alpha branch to do the quick transfer between the two applications inside Omniverse. But yes, that is something that we want to.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I mean, even if you guys had a way to control like just editing, I don't know, maybe you do have this and I could do that right now, but everybody in their own 3D software has the way they're used to navigating. And even in Substance Painter, like the way I navigate in Blender is like click middle mouse to rotate and then hold shift to pan and then middle mouse to zoom. And like it would just be so nice to just be able to do that in every 3D program that I jump into. And so I don't know if there's a way to do that, but it would just, because right now I have to my brain has to switch when I jump over to Omniverse. And
that's one of the things we were talking about, in development. It's like, well, I just really like to use the same controls from app to app, but if we don't have one and I'll do a search, I will put that request on the devs, and I'll tell them that you suggested it. Maybe we can push it forward.
Yeah, let them know Jeremy sent you.
And Jeremy said, we need this.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, it would just make everything so much easier. Well, that looks cool.
We do have remapping of hotkeys inside Omniverse, but it's not from connector to connector. Yeah.
So I think the other thing that we are looking forward to here, and a lot of the team is kind of feverishly working on right now, is CES. So NVIDIA will definitely have a nice presence and cool news coming out of CES, which is literally just a month away. So I would definitely keep up with CES related news. We'll post stuff as they happen on Discord, of course. But Pierre, are you guys involved with CES, or what's next for you on the international stage?
That's a good question. CES is more towards electronics, so Adobe presence is less the case on a regular basis. One of the next stop for us is definitely the GDC, Game Developer Conference.
In March, right?
It's always a huge event for us. And another huge event that I think is arriving around the same time, not saying the same time, is obviously NVIDIA GTC also. So that's, I would say, the two next big stops.
Yeah, it's just a few months away. It comes quick. Yes. GTC, the conference, so good it happens twice a year. But yeah, I think, and you guys are involved in SIGGRAPH usually as well?
Also, yeah, the next stop is definitely SIGGRAPH for us during the summer, and then back to Adobe Max on our end of year is the other big events that we have.
Very cool. I just learned about another cool, let me see if I can find a link really quick. Another cool conference that's more focused on virtual production. Rafi was actually telling me about it. Where is it? FMX. It takes place in Germany.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. FMX always been like huge for us also because it's
is
very
it?
VFX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about it. So it's more focused on creators, right? And less hardcore tech that like SIGGRAPH is kind of focused on.
Yeah, it's indeed more towards creators and especially creators in VFX industry, post productions and things like that. And so, as you might hear, some of us are coming from France, and most of the development of Substance tools are still based in France. So we usually have a couple of developers coming over to Germany to meet some of the users at FMX. So we always have like a pretty good presence over there. But yeah, if you did not go, anyone, I would definitely encourage to go to FMX. The other more European-based large event that is more looking towards animation when FMX is more towards VFX is the MIFA in Annecy, in France and next to the lake. This one is also definitely a must-go event.
Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, it's really nice to see that the events are opening up more and moving away from online only to kind of hybrid, um, which is really nice actually. And I think like one of the downsides of the physical events that has always been there is that you're limited to the people who can actually physically make it to that event. And I think you're missing some voices that really traditionally couldn't participate as much, whether in speaking or just in being part of the audience and networking. And now that things have gone hybrid, now we're getting kind of the best of both worlds, where you have people who can speak, who can even attend the conference, but they're attending virtually. So we're hearing, long story short, I think we're hearing a lot of new and different voices and perspectives that we never really got before. I'm really excited to see so many good creators from different parts of the world that really didn't have an easy access to some of this stuff before. Yeah, so CES only a month away, and then GTC, and of course, Wendy and I will be working hard on our Omniverse user group for GTC.
Those are always fun. I love doing
Yeah.
those. What I love about the user group is we get the big bosses on, and they love it. That's like their favorite thing to do at GTC.
It is. We get Rev, Frank, Damien's a
Yes.
regular here, so he's
Yeah.
he's got his built-in fan club. But of course, Richard Karras. Um,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. It is a great time. The Yeah, we'll see. We actually, you know what, Pierre, what we just started recently we started a community page on the Omniverse website, and we have a insider forum. And what this insider forum does is it allows us to kind of learn more about. So anyone can go in there and sign up to be an insider. And it allows us to kind of know more about the different apps and tools that they're looking at. And we added obviously all of Adobe stuff on there so that when we have really cool news to share, or if we're looking for feedback from Adobe users on something we're working on, it's a very easy way for us to get in touch with those people. So if you're watching the stream, definitely go to the Omniverse community page. You can get there very easily by going to omniverse.nvidia.com and then click on community at the top right. And you'll see a little link for the insider forum a little bit down the page. But it's a pretty comprehensive form, but you don't have to fill it all at once. You can basically just click a few things and then come back to it later whenever you want, or you can update it over time as your expertise changes and or grows in different apps. But that's an awesome way for us to really get to know the community more intimately and kind of really figure out who we can hit if we need some advice on something. So if you want to be an insider, definitely go to that page. And of course, we love to see work you're doing with Adobe Substance and Omniverse or any other kind of DCC. We have our Omniverse gallery page. So Greer and I were just looking through it this morning, and lots of cool stuff was submitted recently. So I want to thank everybody who's been submitting, and keep the submissions coming, whether it's related to the Winter Art Challenge or just your general kind of work in apps and Omniverse. We love to show it and celebrate all the great stuff people are doing. Jeremy has just done a mic drop on his stream, it looks like.
I'm gonna send you the rendering. So people can check that out. And I don't know if anybody would ever want to play with this file, but you can make your own. You just put a Omniverse ornaments all over your Christmas scenes if you guys want. You can keep the ornament.
I think that'd be awesome. That's really nice. Yeah, make that scene available. It'd be great.
Cool.
We were discussing with Jeremy on like playing around with like particle brushes in Painter and randomized brushes, etc. So indeed, if you play around with it, keep us posted. Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
totally. So we have in addition to the gallery page that we have, so you can search for our Omniverse gallery page. That's where we want people to post that kind of the finished stuff that they want to show and tell. If any users out there have work in progress that you want to show off, we have a showcase channel on the Discord server, and you can post in there and mention any apps you're using. And if you have any questions on specific apps like Adobe's, you can go to the Adobe channel on our Discord server, where we're hanging out with other Adobe users, and we can help. So post your questions there. I think it would be really awesome to see people leverage what they've learned today, watching Jeremy and Pierre talk about some of the great features in Substance and Blender and Omniverse, to see how your holiday dreams can come true. Jeremy, thank you so much for walking us through your creative process and your workflow. I think I'm serious. I would love to do a live stream with your buddies who are Power Blender users and see if we can convince them of the benefits of be able to collaborate in real time, leveraging Omniverse and the other tools that they use.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd
I'll
be
talk
fun.
to them and see if anybody wants to make a little set with you guys one day.
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
And Pierre, thank you so much for coming on. It's really awesome to have someone of your talent and experience here with us and sharing your wisdom and the vision of what Adobe's working on in the future. It's super exciting to see all the stuff you guys are working on, including with USD. Is there anything we might have missed that you want to kind of call out now before we wrap up the official stream?
I'm good. I would definitely encourage everyone during the Christmas holiday to play around with Substance. It's always good times.
That's great. Well, if anyone has a few minutes, Wendy and I will jump into the community room on our Discord server. Pierre and Jeremy, if you have a few minutes, you're welcome to jump in there. Maybe we'll get a couple of folks in the community come and want to ask a burning question that we couldn't answer during the stream. But Wendy, thank you so much for hosting. The queen of the stream reigns again with your holiday flair. We'll be back next week talking about Action Graph.
Action graph.
Action Graph. Next week, Action Graph.
Action.
Yes.
Yes.
And then on December 14th, we're going to have the Omnivore himself, Mr. Dave Tyner. Ashley will be on there, continuing the holiday creation process. And we're going to showcase a team of students that have been working with Omniverse, showing off some really cool things.
Yay!
So that'll be a lot of fun. So again, thank everyone for joining us today. Really, really great pleasure to have these two great guests. We will see everyone on Discord in a few minutes if you're able to hop on and say hi.
Sounds great.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for having
everybody.
me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.